It's time for the 1430 Connection on 1430 WNAV and 99.9 FM, spotlighting news, newsmakers, and important community issues. Now, with this week's edition of the 1430 Connection, here is WNAV news anchor Donna Cole.
Welcome to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me today is Chanel Compton. She's the director of the Banneker-Douglass Museum right here in Annapolis, Maryland. It is a true jewel in Annapolis for those that have never visited. Chanel, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you for having me.
Explain what the Banneker-Douglass Museum is and who it's named for.
The Banneker-Douglass Museum, our namesake, is actually Benjamin Banneker, a famed astronomer, African-American astronomer, who actually surveyed a portion of Washington, D.C. And of course, Frederick Douglass, who is the fierce Maryland social crusader that really changed the face of civil rights in this country. And we are located at 84 Franklin Street in Annapolis, Maryland. And our mission is to document, preserve, and present Maryland African-American history and culture.
Okay, but I know Frederick Douglass was born on the Eastern Shore, correct?
He was, yeah, in Talbot County. Mm-hmm.
And this year is?
The Frederick Douglass Bicentennial. So this is the year of Frederick Douglass. He was born on February 14th in 1818, and 2018 marks his 200th bicentennial.
He also actually died in the month of February, too. So the Year of Frederick Douglass, this is pretty exciting, especially with a museum named after the man.
Yeah, yes.
Lots of events coming up.
So many events coming up throughout the state of Maryland, really throughout the nation. But at the Banneker-Douglass Museum, we're looking to be a community hub for all things Frederick Douglass. So we have a series of really great family-oriented programming, workshops, lectures, panel discussions, and of course, art exhibitions as well. So we're excited.
And we're going to talk about those in a minute, but let's go back further in time. How did the museum start?
So the museum started, it was really a community effort. We opened our doors in 1984 with originally opening in what is now known as Verda Welcome Hall, the first African-American female senator for the United States Senate. But she was a Maryland senator, and she led the legislation to create the Maryland Commission on African-American History and Culture, and that same group really led the way, as well as other fierce community advocates led the way to open the Banneker-Douglass Museum in 1984, originally housed in Verda Welcome Hall, which was once, I'm giving you an earload, but this is important information.
This is absolutely important.
It was once Mount Moriah AME Church, and that actually opened its doors in 1874. It was an African-American congregation, and it was written that Frederick Douglass actually gave his dedicatory address there in 1875. So it has a lot of history.
This is one of the most amazing revitalized spaces, and the way that the space was reused, repurposed.
How I look at it is we have our historic Verda Welcome Hall, which still has the look and feel of a historic AME church, right? And then next to it,
stained glass windows.
With stained glass windows. And in that space, and it really is a magical space.
It is.
In that space, we have film screenings. We do socially and culturally relevant programming for people of all ages and backgrounds. But connected to that space is our modern wing of the museum, which we have a really great permanent exhibition. We have a temporary gallery. The foyer is beautiful.
Unbelievable. Well, for those fans of contemporary, modern architecture, albeit in a very colonial town.
Oh, yeah.
This is cool space.
Definitely. And it really does touch on, like you said, like people who are more into antiquity and history to those that are more into contemporary architectural settings and exhibitions. All of the above. It's really awesome.
All right. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, what's going on in the Year of Frederick Douglass at the Banneker-Douglass Museum. This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We will be right back. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me today is Chanel Compton. She's the director of the Banneker-Douglass Museum right here in Annapolis, named after Benjamin Banneker and Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was born in 1818. 2018 means it's the year of Frederick Douglass, the bicentennial. Lots of events coming up, including a Bent But Not Broken exhibit.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So Bent But Not Broken is an artistic celebration of the spirit and legacy of Frederick Douglass, and the works of art was created were created by Ulysses Marshall. He's an African-American Maryland-based artist, and he created these incredible large-scale mixed media collages that tells the story and the history of Frederick Douglass, but also merges it with contemporary African-American concerns. So it really is, I'd say, and I can't say this enough, a socially relevant exhibition for today. So we're excited.
Can you describe one of the pieces maybe that does mix today's concerns with Frederick Douglass?
So in a lot of his pieces, and you'll see, and I don't want to compare too much, but to me it reminds me a lot of the works of Romare Bearden and his collages that really does depict African American community life, particularly in Harlem. Marshall does the same thing where he in one collage he's depicting topics on mass incarceration and how that affects the Black community. And he's also, in another collage, he's depicting the history of sharecropping in the state of Maryland and how disenfranchising that history was to a lot of African-American farmers. And then in another image, and we actually used this piece, it was a piece that he did of a younger Frederick Douglass, because a lot of images that we see of Frederick Douglass,
an older man.
He's typically an older
Right.
man, and he's very poised, and it's a very respectable image, which is something that he prided himself on, depicting these positive, quote unquote, depictions of African American males. In this collage, it really is a different perspective of Frederick, where you really see the emotional weight of being in that type of movement, being someone who was once enslaved, being an abolitionist, being a spokesperson, so to speak, for African American communities throughout the nation, and what type of weight that took, and what type of strength you had to have to really persevere through that. So it's
Powerful.
It's incredibly powerful. I believe that viewers will almost go through a transformational awakening with this exhibition, because it's very powerful, like you said, Donna.
Are you an artist?
I am. I'm speaking like an artist.
You absolutely are, and I think it's the coolest thing. I do think that art can convey so much, and I think the juxtaposition of yesterday to today,
it's so powerful. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. So this runs until May 19th, this exhibit.
Yeah.
And then
Can I do a shameless plug for our next exhibit? So I'm really excited about this because I just got an email from the curator. But the next exhibit, we're turning the space into a Douglass reading room. And so the curator is actually Greg Morton, and he owns a Frederick Douglass home in Baltimore City. And so we're recreating that space to look like a modern day Frederick Douglass home. And when I tell you,
I just got goosebumps.
It is incredible. So we're going to have a lot of artifacts, but we're also going to depict some really amazing Maryland-based African-American artists in the exhibit. So the goal is, if Frederick Douglass was alive today, what would his home look like, right? And so we're going to invite people to come in. We're going to have books there highlighting his life and his journey, and it's going to be really, really incredible.
You started this whole wave of thoughts in my mind. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So if Frederick Douglass were alive today, and the arts being the arts, we don't know what how much he would have loved, not loved.
Well, he was an artist.
So actually, that's where I'm getting to.
Yeah.
Tell me about his art.
So he was a violinist. He was a very, very well-trained violinist, and so he was a lover of the arts. And even if you go to his home in Anacostia, you can see that he definitely was a man of the arts and culture, and also the diaspora as well. I want to mention he was actually an ambassador for the country of Haiti, and you see that type of diasporic appreciation within his own home aesthetic. I don't want to go too much on a tangent, but
I like the tangent sometimes. And so that's where I was leading.
Yeah.
Because art does speak to community and speak to culture and speak to all of that.
Yeah.
Would he be a fan, and I am, of rap music today?
Yes.
No question.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
Everyone
has their own taste level, but Frederick Douglass was a staunch advocate for African American. The African American narrative, right?
And rap is such an important part of that.
Yeah. And actually, so stay tuned to the Douglass Room.
So will you be doing a rap something in the future?
So we're definitely doing on March 6th for all those who are fans of hip-hop music and spoken word. We have a member of the Last Poets, Umar bin Hassan. He will be speaking March 6th, which is a Tuesday, at the Key Auditorium at St. John's at 6:30. And the Last Poets, if you don't know, you should know, they are the fathers of hip-hop. I mean, they are the fathers of spoken word. They're born out of the African American Civil Rights Movement, and it is a treat to have him.
Sold already.
Yeah, so he's going to be speaking on the legacy of Frederick Douglass and the impact that that history had on his own work, and there will also be a open mic for young people, or just people of all ages.
My daughter has not told me about this yet.
Yeah, well, we literally just promoted it.
Okay.
Yeah, we just promoted it. So basically, people can sign up for an open mic after the discussion with Umar bin Hassan, and other youth poets will be on the panel as well, and they'll be able to get feedback from Umar bin Hassan. So it's kind of like if you're a filmmaker and you showed a short film to Spike Lee, and then you get feedback. So it is incredible.
An incredible opportunity.
Yeah, and it really does parallel what we're doing with the Bent But Not Broken exhibition, celebrating history, presenting history, but tying it into today, which is really important. Yeah.
All right, when we come back, more about what's happening at Banneker-Douglass and outside in the community for the Year of Frederick Douglass.
Yes.
This is Donna Cole in the 1430 Connection. We will be right back. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me today is Chanel Compton, director of the Banneker-Douglass Museum. We were just talking about the Bent But Not Broken exhibit, which sounds amazing. Exhibit of Ulysses Marshall's works that captures Frederick Douglass's spirit from yesterday, mixed with some thoughts from today that are going on in African American cultures and communities. There is also the Deep Roots Rising Waters exhibit. It's a permanent exhibit, yes? Tell me about that, Chanel.
So Deep Roots Rising Waters is our permanent exhibition that it's an interactive exhibition that tells the tales of the African American experiences in the state of Maryland from the mid 1600s until the civil rights era.
All right. And there, as we have indicated, it is the bicentennial of Frederick Douglass. He was born in 1818. It's the Year of Frederick Douglass. There are a number of events throughout the area, throughout the state for the entire year of 2018. Okay, what else is happening at Banneker-Douglass?
So we have a Saturday Family Day coming up on February 24th. That is from 11 to 2. There will be hands-on activities, guided tours, and we also have during during Black History Month, the Community Leaders Award. So look out for a special announcement from the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives. During that award ceremony, there'll be a presentation on the museum and awards giving out to community leaders throughout the state of Maryland.
Okay, and that's by invite only. But tell me more about the family event on the 24th.
Yes, that's a no-cost event for families with kids of all ages to just drop into the museum, right, between the hours of 11 to 2, do a hands-on activity that celebrates the legacy of Frederick Douglass. It's typically an arts integrated activity, merging the arts in areas of math, English, and other core subjects. There's guided tours and a scavenger hunt, and snacks are included, which
like
kids
snacks,
love.
Yes,
Yeah.
adults do too.
Yes.
Is there a possibility for schools, school groups, community
Yes,
groups to come in
yes.
during the week too?
Yes, for sure. So we do a lot. First of all, our docents are amazing. So our tours are, like I said, very interactive, very powerful because the content is so powerful. And it's something that students of all ages can connect to. And we're also hosting a bicentennial book initiative. We have hundreds of books to give away.
Really?
Okay, so let me tell you.
Yeah.
The Frederick Douglass Family Foundation published 1 million books to give away to 1 million young people throughout the nation. And the project is called the 1 Million Abolitionist Project. The Banneker-Douglass Museum, we have a couple of hundred. So if you are a young person, this is first come, first serve. If you're a young person between the ages of 8 to 17, you can come to the museum and have an opportunity to have a book given to you.
Currently, from this point?
Yes,
Okay.
from this point on.
How cool
So
is
far
that?
we've
Yeah.
given away about 50. The initiative started at the museum just a week or so ago. So they're going fast. So
All different titles?
it is the bicentennial edition of The Life and Time of Frederick Douglass. So it's a really great read. And the goal of the initiative is to inspire young people through the words of Frederick Douglass to really look at social justice issues that's going on in their communities, right? And to really activate them as community leaders. So as a culmination to this initiative, we'll be doing youth book clubs in the spring and summer, youth-oriented events that really highlight of course, the legacy of Frederick Douglass, but really bringing it into modern times. What are issues of slavery going on today, such as human trafficking and so forth. So it's going to be really exciting because young people have a lot to say. They just really, but they really just need the platform. And social media is a great platform, but when you bring young people together and you bring them, and I use the term intergenerational dialogue because that's really important.
So important.
It's really important. So what better way to do that than at the museum?
I agree with
through
you.
our events.
I can't thank you enough for being here today.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see some of these exhibits. And thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Donna.
This is Donna Cole on the 1430 Connection. We will see you next week.